Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So I hope that in your lifetime you have heard the saying in the church, when God closes a window, or when God closes a window, God opens a door. When God closes a door, God then opens a window. And I want to talk about that a little bit. I think that life is a continual process of endings and new beginnings, of having to let go of something in order maybe for something else to come into your life. I want you to think of the big doors that have closed in your life and then the windows that have been opened up after those doors have closed. Sometimes it takes a while after the door has been closed, or it takes a while for the door to even close before then that window opens up. And it takes us some time to even recognize, and we're so focused on the door to see the window over here that is opened up, that new opportunity. I've obviously had some big doors close in my life and some windows open. I've talked a number of times about when I was a young child. If you had asked me what I wanted to do with my life, I would have said, I want to be a priest, or a Catholic priest, or I would have wanted to be a Cincinnati Reds baseball player, which was a joke, or I would have said I want to be an artist. And my grandma said one time, you quit drawing those pictures and work on your math. You'll never make anything of yourself drawing pictures. When I knew that I wanted to be a husband and a father, and so let's just say the requirements of being a priest, a Roman Catholic priest, were not in the picture for me. So then I had this rather successful 17 years of being an artist. But there was a point in time where I became somewhat dissatisfied of what I was doing in the art field. I was doing great things, but as I called it at the time, advertising was kind of like trash can art. You know, the stuff that you get in the mail that I was producing, and you oh, not that again, in the trash. I created some of that stuff, sorry. But then, over time, I recognized that God was closing that door. But I noticed that I was being more and more interested in the church. And everything I did in the church wasn't it. I was Christian education director, that's not it. I was an acolyte, that's not it. I was on the vestry, that wasn't everything. And then finally one Sunday I was standing next to the priest, and it was like the Grand Canyon, and I said, I need to be there. And God said, aha, now you get it. And so that I recognized then that door to that. But you know, the door is not. Let's just say the door is kind of ajar because I'm still doing artwork, but I'm fully committed. I jumped through the window and somehow landed on my head and became a priest. Although I would say not a Roman Catholic priest, but a Reformed Roman Catholic priest. I'm glad somebody appreciates it. Sometimes, and maybe you've experienced this in your life, that when that door closes, it slams shut. And it can be painful. It can break your nose. Letting go can sometimes be difficult. It can bring about anxiety and stress in your life until you recognize that window open and that new opportunity, and you can go, that's the way out. I bring this up because I see this all playing out in today's gospel reading. It starts out innocently enough, but when I read it, I went, no, wait a minute. It says, at the Last Supper, when Judas had gone out, Jesus said, now the Son of Man had been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. And my theological brain, as I said, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. That my understanding receives his glory is when he dies on the cross. So why is it right here at this Last Supper that he is saying that now I have been glorified? No, you haven't been glorified yet. You haven't died on the cross yet. But he realizes that Judas walking out to betray him, that door on his ministry is closing. And that he is going to open a window through his death and resurrection. The glory of God is as I said, is about to walk through the window. But the betrayal didn't stop God's plan. It opened the way for God's plan to take place. The glory of God does not shine from the throne. It bleeds from the cross. What is the greatest glory of God? What is God's greatest glory? Why are we here today worshiping this God and praising this God? It's because of God's love. That is the greatest gift. The greatest part of God's glory is God's love. Jesus is also closing a door on his ministry even after he's resurrected because he ascends into heaven. He leaves us bodily, but he's opening the window for us to receive God's love through the Holy Spirit. He says, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. So today we live in this in-between time of, the other thing that struck me in this was he says, where I am going you cannot come. But yet later on he says, God is building, in God's house there are many dwelling places, and where I go I will bring you to me. So we're in this point of time of this not being able to come with Jesus, but we will eventually come to Jesus. When you feel a door slam shut in your life, when the way ahead feels blocked with fear or a sense of loss, of letting go, God opens that window, a window that leads to God's love and God's plan for you. You may not know it, but when that door shuts and you wonder where God is busy opening that window for you to go through. And it's God's love that's going to lead you through that window. And in the end, God is preparing a place. God is making the way for you to get there in this life and in the life to come. And through the window of the bloody cross of God's love, God will come again